Hey everyone, it's me here, Kimball, back here with another gardening idea video. Today I want to talk to you about growing potatoes. I want to introduce you to an alternative technique. It is a pre-industrial technique for growing potatoes. I like to think of it as a contra-industrial technique also. Now the genesis of this idea, my first introduction to it, was many years ago when my family went to Sturbridge Village in Sturbridge, Massachusetts. It's a living history museum. I've been there many times. I've taken my family there a couple times. We were there in the fall, and we were at one of the buildings, one of the attractions in Sturbridge Village called Freeman Farm. Freeman Farm is a circa 1815 farmstead. We're talking over 200 years ago. And I love the Freeman Farm because you can see so much work, so much home economy, so much industry going on in that farmstead. And just outside the door, not a distance away, but just outside the door, was a very sizable kitchen garden. And we went in the fall, and I had three sons. I have three sons. They were quite young at the time. And there was one of the Sturbridge Village people there in period costume, and he was in the garden, and he asked us if we wanted to help him harvest potatoes in the big kitchen garden. So of course, yeah, let's do it. I thought this would be a great experience for my sons, and it was. And what they did was they harvested a mound, not a row, a mound that had been planted to potatoes. They harvested them with their hands, and it was fun, and it was my first introduction to the concept of planting potatoes in individual mounds as opposed to rows. I've never forgotten that, and if you've watched my mini bed videos, I actually do plant mounds of potatoes in my mini bed garden, which is right behind me. And at the very end of this video, I'll show you, I have four mini beds planted to potatoes, and they're doing very well. But if you want to grow a lot of potatoes, and that's what I want to do this year with the world situation as it is, I am trying, behind me here, I have 2 rows of potatoes that I have planted in hills. By hills I mean groupings of 4 seed potatoes together, spaced apart, and they will be, as I hill the dirt up, they will be mounds. Now I want to take you down and show you what I've got going on and explain to you what I'm going to do and kind of why I'm doing it. But I want to also say, before we do that, that I'm not suggesting that planting your potatoes in mounds like I'm doing here is a better idea than rows. I'm saying it's another idea. It may be an idea that appeals to you. It may be an idea that you would want to try. It's not an idea that is really out there. It's an idea that was once common. There are 3 reasons that I'm growing potatoes this way, and I'll explain those reasons, but first let's just take a look down this first row, and I want to show you that I have a map. I have 5 kinds of potatoes, and I have the information of what kind they are, what the hills are on this piece of cardboard, which I keep in my garden shed right there. You could see it. It's a mailbox. Let's just take a look down through here. If you watched my wheel hoe video, you saw me cultivating this soil, and that potato's looking good. I can pull these stakes, which were just markers to show where I planted, and look right here. 4 seed potatoes planted, only 1 plant has come up. Now when you plant in rows, you're going to get skips, and I hate skips. But here, I shouldn't have, and I don't have, any skips. But I may have, and I do have, plants like that one back there that are just 1 potato. But yeah, here you can see there, that may be just 2 seed potatoes that sprouted. Very discouraging, but not a total loss. The mound will be productive, even still. And this variety, what variety is this? Let's see. These are Yukon Golds. These are either not going to be as good, or they're a little later than the others that you've seen. I think the Yukon Gold has done well for me in the past. Okay, so I have 17 hills in this row, in each of these rows, and there I'll just give you a quick view of my asparagus bed. Now before we go down this next row, I want to explain that what I did was I tilled a section for each of these rows 4 to 5 feet wide, and then there's a swath of grass that I can mow with my lawnmower of 4 foot wide down the center. I have planted potatoes in that area in rows, and I could get more rows in there, more potatoes planted than I have there now. But this is an experiment, and there are reasons for this, that I'm planting this way. One reason is that with all this soil, open soil, not mulched, I can mulch my mini beds, no problem, but when you get into a large area like this, mulch is just not practical, for me at least, unless I bring it in, pay for it, straw and such, and I don't want that. I don't want possible herbicide contamination that comes with straw from a farm. What I'm doing here is I'm giving these plants lots of space to for their roots, so that they're not crowded and I don't have to irrigate, okay? So this is a little bit of the Steve Solomon, what he teaches, space things far apart, and you'll, your plants can get the water they need. So that's the plan here. That's the idea. The other reason that I'm growing in these mounds is because I want to really get the fertilizer to these potatoes. And as you know, if you've watched my videos, I have a bucket irrigation idea. I have bucket irrigation kits, and they're not just for irrigation, they're for fertigation. So I can get liquid fertilizer into these hills with a bucket irrigation kit a whole lot easier than I could get fertilizer into rows, all right? So that was reason 2. The third reason that I'm doing this is because it's a whole lot easier for me to dig individual mounds, 34 of them in this case, than it is to dig long rows. I've hand dug a lot of long rows. It's a job. So I'm looking to make it a little bit more manageable. That's the concept. It does take space if you're going to have a bunch of hills. Let me know what you think of this idea. It's not for everybody, like I said, but it may be something that you'd want to try. I'm going to, right now, get some fish fertilizer in my watering can, and I'm going to water the tops of these, kind of a foliar feed, a simple foliar feed. Wild Alaska Salmon Organic Fish Fertilizer. Smells great. I will conclude by showing you and telling you about these mini beds planted to potatoes. I think I said I had 4, but I actually have 5. And you can see the stakes. Those are there because I'm going to try to tie these stems up when they get really tall. They usually get tall and flop over, and that's normal, nothing wrong with that, but I'm going to let them get even taller by tying them to the central stake. What I did here, let's see, back out a little bit, is that as these were growing, I mounded the soil up. I dug down deep. Get down here, see? I dug down deep around the edges and mounded it up as much as I could within that restricted space. And then you can see here I've got rye root mulch on there, and then I have this beautiful nitrogen-rich grass. These are fresh-eating fingerling potatoes from Wood Prairie Farm up in Maine. I've planted them, I've hilled them up, I've mulched them. Now we wait. We wait for the beautiful blossoms and the taller growth, and then harvest the summer eating potatoes there. Hey everyone, thank you for watching. and we'll see you in the next one.